This episode of Brains on Games, we're going to talk about Klask, a dexterity game that's like air hockey with magnets. Welcome to Brains on Games. I'm Dr. Brian McDonald. In this episode, we are going to talk about Klask, which is a dexterity game, and you know I love dexterity games. So it's an older game, but a couple of people have mentioned it to me in the comment sections of some of the other dexterity game videos that I've put up. And I finally played it last weekend, and then I bought my own copy because I just couldn't resist. Klask is a very large game, so you're not going to see me holding the box up. I'll have to find a graphic of the box that I'll put up over my shoulder. But Klask is a two-player game. The box would say ages 8 and up. I think maybe 6 or 7-year-olds could figure this one out. And games play only in about 10 minutes. So it's a game where you'll find yourself playing multiple games in any session. Let's take a deeper look at Klask. So Klask is a light dexterity game. What you're trying to do is be the first player to reach 6 points. You've got these little discs on the side, and you won't be able to see it on the camera overhead, but there are score areas that are numbered from 0 to 6. So you start with these discs in the middle at 0, and then they move out as each player scores. Now, how do you score in this game? Well, you're trying to get your little ball into the opponent's goal, which is a circle on the opposite side of the board. And how you're going to do that is by using these little pieces. Now, these pieces are in two parts. There's this skinny part that's on the top of the board, but you control it with this other thicker, heavier part on the bottom. And these are magnetic pieces that stick together. So you're controlling the ball using this little joystick, I guess you could say. Your player is magnetic, but you're controlling it from underneath. So the game is raised up on a little stand so that you can get your hand underneath it, and you're trying to shoot this ball into the net. Now, there's no turns in this game. Both players are playing simultaneously, which is why I compare it a little bit to air hockey, because it's the first dexterity game I can think of in recent memory that's kind of real-time simultaneous, where you're kicking this ball around and trying to get it in the net. Like I said, you're trying to score by getting this little ball in the net, but there's a couple of other ways that you can score and get those points up to 6. One is that there's these little white round things in the middle of the board. They're flat on either side. They're little cylinders, but they're magnetic also. So if you get too close, let me see if I can do this. They're going to jump up and stick to your playing piece. If 2 or 3 of those stick to your playing piece, then your opponent is going to get a point. And these things are so light and they're round on the side so they can roll, that one of the strategies in this game is to try and hit your marble to knock those little magnets towards your opponent's side of the board, so that there's going to be areas where they're maybe scared to go, so that they don't get these things stuck to the side of their player and cause them to give their opponent a point. Now, the final way that you can earn a point in Klask is if your opponent loses control of their player, because these are two magnetic pieces, and you'll find when you're kind of racing around that sometimes you'll forget that you have to keep the magnet close. Maybe your little piece will fall over and you won't be able to pick it back up again. The most common way that this would happen in the games that we played is when our playing piece went into our own goal, like that. Now, you can't get it out once it falls in there, so that's going to give my opponent a point. Once a point is scored, of course, you're going to move your chip up. Then your opponent is going to take the ball and shoot it. It's always from one of these corners of the board. And then play just continues until you get up to 6 points. What skills, though, are you practicing when you're playing a game of Klask? This is a light game. It's not very strategic in the way that, say, a flicking game like Crokinole is strategic, and you can think about your moves and place guards. This is one where you're playing simultaneously, and your strategy is to get that ball in the goal or to knock these magnets into your opposing player's piece. It's very much about motor dexterity, because you do have to really be careful that you're holding on to your piece, that you're not putting it too close, that you're aiming the ball properly, you're trying to bounce it off and angle it in to that opponent's goal. You're trying to maybe hit these little pieces, and it's not easy to do when you're whacking that ball around the board and your opposing player is shooting it back at you like a game of tennis or ping pong. Speed is a factor in this game as well. Motor speed is very important. Reaction time is very important because this marble can move pretty fast. Now, sometimes maybe there'll be a light, gentle push because you're trying to get your opponent to move towards these white pieces. But a lot of the time, that ball is whipping across the board, and you're trying to block it before it goes into your net. Final thoughts about Klask. Well, this is a game that is super simple and straightforward. You can learn it in 2 minutes and be playing. It's a game where your skills develop as you play. You can start to aim the ball a little bit more. You do become more conscious of not knocking your player into your own net or your own goal. Pardon me. It's not really a net. So it's super quick, super simple, but it's so much fun. So many laughs. I only played this game a week ago, and I've probably played it 40 times already. It's just, it's one of those games where it's, okay, just one more. One player or the other is going to say, okay, let's do that again. Oh, best 3 of 5. Oh, best 5 of 7. It is, such a fun, quick little game, and with the simultaneous play, everybody's involved all the time. Nobody's sitting and thinking about their moves. You don't have time to think on that game. There is a speed component to it as well, and we just laughed. My son and I laughed and laughed while we were playing this thing, cheered when we made an amazing shot. But boy, this game was just fun and funny. And he was the one saying, I should be studying right now, but just one more. I have to win at least one. But, I had more experience with the game than he did, so I was able to win most of those games. If there's a downside, there's not really a downside. This is an amazing 2-player simultaneous quick game that you could pull out anytime and play, but it is only 2 players. Now, I have seen a 4-player version of this game. It's round. I kind of feel like that would be a little bit more like playing Hungry Hungry Hippos or something, where balls are just rolling around the board and it's a bit harder to make them do what you want it to do. With this 2-player rectangular surface, I think it makes it straightforward, but I haven't tried the 4-player game, so don't quote me on that for sure. It's 2 players only, but it goes so quick that you could play a tournament quite easily, and that's what we did the first time I played it. I was with 2 of my friends, so there were 3 of us, and only 2 of us could play at a time, but it was constantly, 5 minutes later, the winner, you get to take on the winner. You do need a level playing surface. That is one thing about this game that you have to be careful about. You don't want to have the ball kind of just randomly rolling towards one player's side or the other. The first time I played was at sort of a little convention area, and they had some business cards underneath one side of the board to make it more level. Like my copy is pretty level and the table is level, but on some playing surfaces, you'd have to be careful. If you had it outside, I don't know what you'd do to make sure that it's level if you're trying to play outside on a picnic table or something like that. You'd need to have some business cards or napkins or something with you to keep it straight. But what a fantastic game. What a great experience. So much fun. Just so ridiculous and silly. Everyone who sees it wants to check out these magnetic pieces and there are lots of cool things in the world, but magnets are definitely one of them, in my opinion. So Klask is a winner for us, and it's a game that I could see at parties with family. The kids can play, the adults can play. I haven't met a person who didn't enjoy a game of Klask yet. I mean, I've only been playing for a week, but I haven't met somebody who wouldn't want to play it more than once, let's be honest. So if you have any questions about Klask or any of the other things that we talk about here at Brains on Games, if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section below the video, or you can email me at brian@brainsongames.ca. Brainsongames.ca is the website. That's where future episodes will go, and the previous ones are up there already. Brains on Games is the Twitter handle and the Facebook page and the Instagram feed, so we're all over the place. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to be notified of future ones, you can head on over to YouTube and click that subscribe button. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you next time.